How do you feel an hour after you eat your food? This is one of the big questions I ask my clients when it comes to their nutrition. Because when we talk about nutrition, we get to honor what energy that gives us, right? And actually, if we enjoy eating. I read this really cool saying when it comes to food. Let me just get it up. And it's so true, because the emotional energy you carry when preparing a meal transfers directly into your food, right? So if you're making something and you're like, fuck this, I hate this, right? Broccoli, chicken, rice, let's do the thing, let's be all fit. And I want to actually give you a story on this. Not to do with broccoli, chicken and rice, but another add-on that is a very common fitness food, oats. So back when I was first a PT, and I remember I was in an office with lots of other PTs, right? So there was always everyone eating really healthily. And I was like, I'm going to eat oats for breakfast, right? Really great carb source. Nothing wrong with oats at all. It's actually quite good for you. And so I was like, this is going to be awesome. I hated with a passion the taste of oats. Still do to this day. It's an absolute thing I do not like. And being a mad foodie and coming from, as you heard in my background, you know, from restaurant and starting to actually introduce myself to food as I grew older and loving food, and then eating oats, like I absolutely hate it. I put berries on it, I put honey on it, I'd try all the things, right? And I absolutely fucking hated it. Like, it made me physically ill. I did not lose weight from that, was my goal, or to, you know, stay fit and whatever. I actually just felt like shit. And that was ridiculous. All for this goal that I was going after. And I would just eat this stuff that makes me feel absolutely revolting. So why this saying is important, and I'll go into the next part of it, is because this is why it's really important to never make a meal when you're in a bad mood. This energy transfer can either heal you or slowly poison you. Choose wisely. And this is what I mean. I was slowly poisoning myself with this disgusting food. In my mind, disgusting, right? My body hated it, felt physically nauseous eating it. And I'd shove it in. And if you're anything like me, food is like, it has to feel good. I have to fucking love it. I have to froth it, want to eat it, and right? And I did it. I hated it. I thought, fuck this. This is disgusting. I got no results from that. And this is what I find really important, because an hour later, I didn't really have any energy from that because I was slowly poisoning myself and in dread of eating it the next day. So I was actually causing stress on my body. And of course I wasn't going to get results from that, because as we know, stress can add weight, right? The body's like, holy fuck, we're in a stressful situation. So I go back to caveman era. Quick, keep hold. We don't know when we're going to eat again. Right? So this is really, really important. How you see food, your relationship with food, is where we start. So do you look at food and go, I fucking hate that, right? Are you poisoning yourself? Are you looking at food and be like, get in my belly? Oh yeah, you know, like you fucking frothing it and like, I want to eat that, right? And we get to be with that relationship with food. What relationship do you have with certain different types of food, right? Because then if I went and go and make, like, you know, those Wheat Bix bowl things with yogurt and all things, right? Delicious. I love it, right? But there could be a person next to me that's like, I hate Wheat Bix and had a terrible experience with it. So we get to look at what foods actually really love eating, because you're more likely to keep eating them, right? And you're actually not going to poison yourself with stress or with boredom or with that feeling of like, I just don't want to do this. And your body is going to react to that, because your body's going to hold on and be like, not a good time. So we get to be with is, one, do I actually really like this food? Is it fun for me to make? Am I just making it because I have to? Is it fun for me to make? Is it fun for me to create? Do I get to allow myself to be with the smell of it and just really immerse myself in the senses, right? Because you have literally 3 senses already happening. 4, if you're cooking it yourself. 5, you can touch it if you want, right? You get to smell it. What memories does that bring back for you when you smell the food, right? You taste it. So that's like essentially getting into your body and your senses and Okay, you want to be in your senses as a woman in the sensuality of who you are. This is part of the experience of life, right? We get to experience it through our senses. If you're cooking it, you get to hear it sizzle and crack and pop and whatever's happening, right? And you get to see it. You also, when you look at something, that is also your body being like, if it's into it, or like, fuck no, run, boys. Okay, if it's not. So the relationship you have with food, particular foods and food groups in general, is super, super important. And how do we get to honor that? How do we shift the perspective if that's something that you would like to eat? Or do we even need it? Is it actually going to be imperative? Are there other things you could eat that give you the same nutritional benefit and the same outcome that you want when it comes to your goals with food? So we get to look into that. We also get to look at the fact that you want to live life, right? You don't want to just be in a diet or a plan where you don't also get to enjoy going out with your friends and eating whatever you like, right? You can also make healthier choices when you go out, but if you're not allowing yourself to enjoy your weekly food, which is most of the time people, if you think about it, during the week you might eat similar things, right? Breakfast, lunch, dinner. You may change it up if you're someone who can't eat the same thing all the time, which is so fine, but you might be sitting at like, maybe you're trying to hit a certain number of protein, like grams of protein. And so that's really important for women, by the way, and we'll get into that a bit later, but you might be trying to hit that. So during the week, that's really good because you get to be with the fact that you hit those things, or maybe you're just trying to allow yourself to be more conscious during the week of what you eat. But if you're eating things you enjoy during the week, maybe, you have a favorite fruit, or you have some vegetables you love that you're frothing at this time, or maybe there's certain meals like spag bowl and there's certain ways you like to make it that's really nourishing for you. Then on the weekend, when things come up, which is exciting and new and all that, and you're not restricting yourself, your mind's not like, well, I can't have that, so I fucking want it, right? Because that's the psychology of it here, is when I can't have that, if I restrict my diet so I can't have that, I fucking want it. How many times have you been like, I can't eat chocolate. I'm cutting out sugar, right? Cool. You do you. Also, why? No, there's some benefits. Don't get me wrong, but also, don't you want to fucking live your life? You're not here forever. We don't even know how many days we have. I'm not getting into that. Anyway, off on a tangent. So you say, I'm not eating chocolate. What the fuck do you want for that whole week? Chocolate. You finally get to a place where maybe you're out with friends and you let your hair down. How much chocolate do you fucking eat? Or the cake that you go and eat, or the sugar that you go and invest in. What if you just allowed yourself to have little bits during the week, and then when you got to the weekend, you'd be completely sweet because you wouldn't be craving any of it? Or you allowed yourself to slowly wean yourself off things if you weren't going to have them, and then it wouldn't be a big deal to eat them, or you wouldn't crave them anymore. Because you can also wean yourself off sugar, absolutely, and you get to honor if that's a lifestyle you want to lead. Because this is the other piece too. When it comes to food, there's so many different ways you can tackle it, right? There's vegan, there's vegetarian, there's where you eat meat, don't eat meat, but you eat fish. You'll know what it is. Someone on here will let me know. I can't think of it right now, but also, and then there's obviously meat eaters. So it's like, there's so many options, and all of them are very sustainable if you know how to honor what you need from them, okay? As we spoke about in the last episode, what is your goal? What do you want from your food to nourish you in what sort of way? So, you get to allow yourself, if you're vegan, to have synthetic proteins if you can't get enough protein. So that's like protein powders, all things. Even some people who eat meat don't eat enough protein and need protein powders and all these different things, right? Because it's really important for women to honor their protein intake, also builds muscle, you know, all of these beautiful things. It also helps with when you've been to the gym or you've been doing exercise, as your muscles break down, your protein comes in and it allows it to rebuild your muscles. Okay, so it allows you for that. So it's really important to honor how much you actually need in a day. And a lot of my clients I like to work with on that. So we get to sit with how much they're eating in general at first, and we get to be aware of what they're eating, right? Their relationship with food, come into an awareness of that. So like writing it down, just having a pure awareness of what that looks like. And then we get to be like, cool, how do we honor our relationship with food? What do we feel around these things? How much energy do we feel an hour later? So it's no longer also putting pressure on the specific food, but feeling what our body feels after we've eaten it an hour later. Do we feel energized? Do we feel like depleted? Are we, you know, ready to go, not ready to go? What's the go? Because that's really important, especially if you're going to movement goals. So we get to look at that. We get to look at how food, our relationship with food, we get to look at how it's looking after us and if we actually want that to be our outcome. And then we get to relate it to our goal in that way, right? Because when we're looking at the relationship, what do we eat, what do we not eat? We look at, is it providing us the energy we need to fuel our movement program or our movement in our daily lives? Are we eating enough or not enough? There's so many women out there who aren't actually eating enough. It's really important for us to understand that. Now, we can use a tool. And I talk about this a lot. When we do, like people use MyFitnessPal and all these things. And I think these are great tools to understand where you might need to up calories, up your food intake or lower your food intake if there is something specific you want to hit. However, I also don't think this is a long-term fix because it's really for a short term that you would use this. And it's only for an awareness piece. A lot of times I actually don't tell my clients. I just kind of go through what they're eating and what they've provided for me. I have a quick squiz and they don't need to know any of this. And then we look at how we can increase their protein intake. Because as you know, protein keeps you fuller for longer as well. So it means that we get to look at how we can slowly increase that. Now, I don't mean going from like 60 calories a day to 120 like that. It's not what I'm here for. Again, sustainability is really important to me. So I want this woman to keep eating, what they enjoy, feeling about food, and allow ourselves to make any adjustments that we need to first there, right? First looking at our relationship, then coming into how that makes us feel energetically in alignment with what we're doing when it comes to movement. Super duper important. Then how can we add protein to that? So for example, I had a woman who she was vegan and we got to add an extra piece of tofu at night. And during the day, she had the capacity and wanted to also add an extra protein bar, right? So here we got to look at how we can honor that in a way that she felt was sustainable and she could do it. And she did do it because she actually really liked the protein bar that she wanted to add. She really loved tofu and was happy to add another serving, but in the way that we didn't affect her life so much that we changed her diet to such dramatic effect that she couldn't sustain it long term. And this is the beauty of this, right? When we look at the relationship to food, why we're eating what we're eating, what it's doing for our body, and we actually get to feel into that, we get to honor what we need, right? And we get to make steps forward that are sustainable and allow us to keep wanting to eat the thing, right? And wanting to move forward to the goal. Yes, you're not going to get like a 10K drop of weight like that. It's not what I'm here for. I'm here to help you keep that weight off when you get there because you have such incredible habits to allow yourself to get to where you need to be and want to be long term and keep yourself there, right? So that's what we look at. We look at upping protein. That's the only thing I really work with my clients on when it comes to changing of diet, apart from the relationship with food first, right? So they'll have awareness first, comes into like everything, that awareness piece of what we're actually eating. Because a lot of the time, that's a really big thing. A lot of us put things in our mouth and like we might be watching TV and distractions and on our phone and all the things. And we actually aren't even aware of what we're putting in our mouth. So first piece, coming to awareness of that. Even if you just write down what you're eating for a couple of days and just be conscious of what you're eating, you actually find that you'll probably start changing in your diet from that / your eating. I shouldn't say diet. I don't like that word. You'll change what you eat because you'll actually just be really conscious of what you're putting in your body, and you'll actually be like, oh, do I want that right now? Is that going to serve me? And when I also talk about food, when I mean serve you, I mean like physically, mentally, right? Mentally, are you having lots of fats to help with your brain function? Like physically, are you having protein to allow yourself to build muscle and have your muscles regenerate so you can keep moving forward in your fitness? Okay, this can be in any aspect, doesn't have to be in strength training. So it's like, that's two things right there. Are you allowing yourself to have energy? So are you having carbs? You're not cutting them out because they're super important to allow you to keep going, right? They're your like chug horse that are like, woohoo, you know, like that allows you to keep moving forward and have energy to do the things that you want to do. So then we can look at soul food. There is some food that brings your soul so much fucking joy that it's like, it might bring back a memory like of childhood or when you were with your grandmother or, you know, all of these beautiful things. And that's beautiful. And we get to honor that, right? Like, these are the things. Soul food is really important and we get to be with that. And then, you know, we also get to look at what does that mean when it comes to what we drink as well? Like, are we giving ourselves sufficient water? And are we actually allowing ourselves to, you know, put water back into our bodies because we're 90% water, right? So we get to be with that. And so we get to honor what we're drinking and how that's fueling us. And coffee, how does that make us feel? You know, are we having one coffee or we're having 8 coffees? That also affects our food. So it's like we get to look at that awareness piece. If you're having 4 coffees a day, one, your nervous system is fucking boop. So that's hectic. You're putting yourself almost in an anxious state a lot of the time with that caffeine, unless you're used to it, because if you've done it for a really long time, your body gets really accustomed to it. And then that's normally why people drink more caffeine, because they want that fix and they want that, like, I want to feel like I'm ready to go, right? We get to actually do that in meditation in many other ways, but we can talk about that another time. So it's like, is that honoring you though? Like, is that actually honoring your movement forward in the energy you need for your body to get where you want to go, right? Could you easily, one of my favorite things, and I just had one this morning, is like the little yogurts, the protein yogurts, where I just sip it like a kid, right? And then there's little pouches and you get to, I love them. They're a super quick fix and easy way when you're on the way to a meeting or something, or you're busy, you can just suck it. Like, it's just super easy, right? This is what we look at. Simple fixes, a protein bar that you can chuck in, things that are super easy, super self-sufficient, that mean that you don't have to also go and make lots of things. Because here's the other thing. How much time do you have? And what do you want to spend your time on? This is a huge piece, right? Because if you actually sat down and look what you spend all your time on, you'll know if you're moving yourself towards your goal or away from it, and what you value, your top 3 values of what you're living out right now. That's a whole nother podcast. But if food and your, health is not one of them, then you're not going to be moving forward in this way. And if you're not putting lots of time into your health, because that's where you'll put most of your time in your top 3 values, then you may not have the capacity to, 1, move towards your goals, or 2, realize that there might be a more efficient way you can get there. So we get to honor that, right? So for me personally, health is a really big thing. However, my time at the moment is going into lots of different areas. So a really great way to honor my health is I get my Muscle Chef meals. So every lunchtime, I already have a pre-made meal that is hitting high protein. That means that all I have to do is take it to work and put it in the microwave. That saves me cooking time. I like to cook at night, but things that are very quick. So I use my air fryer to cook some chicken. I'll cook some broccolini at the moment is my thing on my pan, my fry pan. And then I'll either, if I want to add some carbs, maybe I'll have like kind of like a piece of toast, some rice, whatever's feeling good for me that's really quick and easy that I can put with my meal. I also sometimes don't have that. It just depends how I feel. So what you get to do is honor how much time do you have to prepare meals. Some people are really good and they prepare them on a Sunday and it's amazing. However, if you have other priorities happening, like I'm running a business, I still work full time, I am trying to also get my fitness in and eat well, and also so many different factors, right? Go and do personal growth things and like the list goes on. So I get to honor my health in the way that serves me. So right now, that means that I get things that are a lot easier and quicker for me to make so that I can still make sure I'm hitting the high protein things. I use little pouches, right? Those yogurt pouches. I use protein bars. I, will have protein shakes. This is things that right now for this period of my life, while I don't have the capacity to cook, and also I don't want to spend my time there because I would like to invest my time into other things and other areas of my life at this point. That is how I make sure that I keep my food intake where I want it and how I want to eat. I have variety because my Muscle Chef makes different, obviously, meals. So I get variety in my meals because I find that really big. And some people can eat the same meal all the time. That is just not who I am. The great thing, though, that means is I can still have the same breakfast. So technically I can have the same breakfast and I could have the same dinner each night, but because my lunch changes, my brain doesn't think the day is the same. So it's how you can also come into tricking your brain or being with your brain and being like, how do I honor all parts here? I've honored my brain being like, I want different things every day. It also has the things it really likes. And if it gets to a point where it doesn't like something, I just change it up. So you get to sit with what serves you when it comes to food. You also get to see where your time is being spent. And if you don't have the capacity and time to create your own meals, then you also get to honor what's going to serve you to keep you moving forward with your goals and also not take away from that time. So there's so many different factors when it comes to food, especially I have clients who have kids, and so they need quick fixes that are really easy, really sustainable, and allow them to move forward in their health and wellness journey without having to take up lots of time. They may also create many different meals for their children or, many different meals, and maybe it doesn't quite work. And by the time they get to themselves, they're in a space where they're too tired to do anything for them. So these are different ways that we get to look at food and we get to honor the time that we have to create food. And for the women out there who love creating and like you get to be with all your senses, because this is another really big piece when we're talking about the senses piece, right? So for me, there's less sort of senses when it comes to, I don't really hear myself making food apart from at dinner time. And, I don't get to always be with, actually, it's not true. I get to smell it as it cooks in the microwave. I get to taste it and I can add things to it if I really want to. And then I also get to see it and get excited and pick the thing that I really want before I go to work. So there are ways that you get to honor this, and this can change over the course of your life, right? So in this period of my life, this is how I eat. I used to make meals all the time, lunch, dinner, like I used to cook them. I used to go into work, cook eggs. I still actually cook eggs on the weekend for my breakfast. And so you just get to play and be with what serves you. And this is what I love about this, because we also get to honor the fact that when you go out on the weekend, you don't have to think about it. You don't have to worry about what you're eating, and you get to enjoy all parts of food. And this is what I love bringing women into their sensuality and their senses, right? Because when you honor all parts of your journey with food. And we've all had different journeys, right? Obviously things, as we grow, things change, right? When we're a kid, I used to love creaming soda. Guess what? Nostalgically, sometimes I'll still go and get a creaming soda, a can, and have it with my dinner because I absolutely froth it. And as a kid, it brought me back, it just brings back so many memories. And then there's oats, which I hate, so I never go and buy, right? So it's like you get to honor what serves you in the time of your life. And if there's things that in your past you've had that maybe don't work for you, then you also get to honor that too. And some people I have as clients don't love water, right? They get to look at how could they incorporate water and then sometimes some other liquids that aren't coffee, right? That maybe they can put a little bit of a dash of, these days they have like a dash of lemon in there. And so they're still drinking water. Yes, there's a dash of lemon in it, but it's actually moving them further or closer to their health goal. And, or they can pick a juice, like a really nice fresh squeezed juice. And we also get to honor that too, because there are certain things that they sell in the supermarkets, like juices, which we also get to look at because there's sugar and all these big things, right? But if you love them and it's going to move you towards your goal, then you can have it in any aspect, right? And we also get to honor the ebbs and flows that the body will go through from this journey. So nutrition is a really, really, really juicy, amazing thing because there's so many factors to your nutrition journey and to your food journey. And this is why I really don't like using calorie counters, and I don't really like coming into doing that all the time because you can come into an obsession piece. And I've done it. This is the reason why, if you've ever had disordered eating, you'll understand when you become so obsessed with how many calories you're eating and what you're eating, and it gets to a point where it's actually really unhealthy and you can put yourself in really shit moods. Like you feel really down about eating the wrong thing, or you can be like, oh my God, I went over today, and punish yourself tomorrow, either with fitness or with food, and eat a lot less. It creates a really horrendous cycle. And living through this in my life, or, hiding food, eating it in private and then feeling shit and going and trying to work it off, this is a horrible thing and cycle that women can get into. And we can actually not really be aware of it as well. There's definitely times where I've thought I'm not disordered eating. And then I've actually realized, wow, I'm actually gone back into an old habit. So we get to be with what that looks like. And I believe that calorie counting is not the way to go with that, because it'll just put you straight back in that pit. Also, it's not sustainable. You're not going to be able to do that for your whole life. It is a great tool for checking in and allowing yourself to see what works. I've definitely done that, where I've put things in to see if it kind of meets the general criteria, and then I've just not gone back in. And I've been like, cool, meat's generally where I'm moving toward, and I'm going to eat more protein and I'm going to up that, because that's normally the piece for women as well that we don't actually honor. And when we start to honor that piece, that makes a huge difference to how we actually move forward with the rest of our diet and how we allow ourselves to eat for fuel. And I always say that, eat for fuel. Another piece I really want to bring up with this, because it just came up recently with a client, is you are using energy every day. Your energy is so important. It's the most valuable thing, right? So when it comes to food, you don't not get to eat because you didn't exercise today. Or, sometimes we get ourselves in this state where it's like, I have to exercise so I can eat the thing. Actually, that's not true. Okay? Absolutely not true. It's a really bad mindset, but I've been there. So it's like, food gives you energy to do daily tasks. So your body does daily tasks of, sleeping, of walking, of, your whole internal organs, right? Your blood moving around, your liver, your pancreas, everything that works requires energy, your heartbeat, right? So if you're choosing not to eat because you haven't done the exercise, right? You can't eat because you haven't exercised. then you're choosing not to give your body energy to do its daily functions. What? I know I've blown some minds there. But this is not an uncommon thought. So I want to reframe it for you if this is something that you've felt. Because food provides fuel, energy, which then gives you the ability to function first, your body to function, and then it provides you energy for your workout. So if you don't have the energy to do your workout and the energy already in your body, already there, right? You're not fueled, ready for the energy that you need to use to do your workout, you're going to have a shit workout. And you're actually not going to get the gains, and your body's not going to be able to fully make all the gains from the workout because it doesn't have the fuel to fix the body, to pick the fibers all together with strength and all the things to recover, to then give you energy to do it all again, right? So food is energy for you to do daily tasks, your body, all its functions, right? Breathe, everything. And then you get to do exercise from the fuel that you ate already. Fuel's already going in your body. Energy is already happening. You're already nourishing yourself with food, okay? You get to honor yourself in that way. You get to honor and be with what you eat and allow it to serve you to not only nourish your body, your mind, everything to work throughout the day for its general function, let alone all the extras that we ask from it. Whether it comes to exercise, whether you're studying, all of these beautiful things, right? So I really, really want you to honor that because it's really, really important that we understand that we get to do exercise because we nourish our body with food and fuel. It's really, really important. I really wanted to drive that home because when you disordered eat, you don't feel that way, right? You might eat and then be like, oh, I hate myself, so I'm going to go do this, or I'm going to stop myself or restrict myself or all the things. And these are totally normal thoughts, by the way. And though, let's change them. Let's reframe them. Let's allow ourselves to nourish our body no matter what. And then appreciate what our body can do through the nourishment that we give it. I'll leave you with that.